Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Mentioned, most of the majority of the supplier will end with a supply registration. As long as the supplier is registered, they are working with that. There are certain clients or customers. They wish to go for a qualification where they are maintaining. Huge number of commodity managers or category managers are there. They will be validating or qualifying the suppliers for particular region, commodity or a department purpose. That's we're going to see now. Let's go to the label screen. Let me start from the home page. Supplier management. Whatever the activity we're doing for particular supplier will be that bring to this supplier 360 profile only either. I can directly searching here. Or with the tabs which are there as statuses. With that we can able to do that. It's loading. I will be searching Ariba seller. Ariba seller. One more person need to join. I don't know. Anyway, it's 8-4. Under qualification, we can see process qualification and legacy qualification earlier. Whatever the standard practice is only legacy qualification. In that case, we can simply click on this and do the qualification process. Qualification is a new process where it is a combined activity where you can able to qualify and also do the performance management at some other person and also can be combined into this level. Let's see with the legacy qualification if we can able to apply. Process type. Again, given when I selected legacy. Also, it is not accepting as soon as this qualification process has been enabled. The new method only will be selected out of this process, qualification. You can also combine whether you want to do partial qualification, pre-qualification, qualification advance, primary, depending upon your requirement, we can able to take the necessary qualifications. Let's take partial qualification. Need to be for. As an initiator group. Second, pre-qualification. I do not have the first one. I'm taking pre-qualification as soon as I selected a process type. It is asking for which commodity code and which reason. Here we're not using the department. That is an additional functionality. In standard it is always commodity and reason based. You are doing qualification. For which commodity code I am doing, let's select the commodity code. Let's expand the all commodity codes. Let's go. Can we find some IT related? Anyway, let's take financial and insurance services. Under financial accounting and auditing. Normally, while registering the vendor or when they will be forwarding the commodity codes and regions to which region they will be providing that. While they are qualifying, will that phone take that automatically? That's very good question. There are two levels of authentication or controls added. One is the supplier. He's selecting what commodity codes he can supply. That is completely on the supplier side only. That is for the visibility purpose. Wherever in the marketplace when someone is searching, they will be searching by that commodity codes. Whatever this activity which we are currently doing, this is from the buyer side. Even we do not care whether he has selected this commodity or not. As long as he is supplying this particular commodity, we can control this one. There is no hard stop or there is no linkage between what we are selecting and what he has selected. That is purely profile based only. There is no restrictions available on that thing. Even if that is at high level, because we don't want to interfere with the supplier's maintenance. Maybe he has not disclosed. For example, he is also part of a credit agency, but he does not disclose that information in the public domain. That is how you will not be restricting that. There is no linkage between these two combinations. Generally, the commodity managers in your company, they will be knowing, for example, I am taking Ariba Supplier. For testing purposes, we do not know where we are randomly selecting it. They will be knowing for which commodity particularly they are doing. They will be selecting that particular commodity and they will be processing the qualification. Let's take maybe furniture and savings instead of the VAT accounting. Let's select next. I will be taking full furniture and furnishings, including all the other commodity, goods and reason I will be doing only for, let's say, past year. Reason. Click on next. At this stage, commodity managers confirming the supplier for these two categories only. He will not be qualifying for any other reason or something. Suppose if someone is purchasing from in other than RCA region, then this qualification is not valid. Now here that by default, as soon as I select these two automatically. Certain questions have been added. If you want to move, I don't take unless you are ineligible. By default, these questionnaires will be sent to the supplier for getting the relevant answers, apart from that, optional ones. If you want to select, you can select. There are about how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 questionnaires will be sent to the supplier by clicking on next. Here you can decide what kind of questionnaires. This is external questionnaires. That means the supplier has to enter. Qualification internal MQ. This is internal questionnaires. That means internal department has to enter the values. I'll be entering all. The majority are external. Anyway, by testing purpose, many people have added some like gaming, PC cards and SM tests. These are all unnecessary. But let's see what is there in cards. This requisition. This questionnaire should be available when someone selects a commodity code related to IELTS cards. When I select card, it is asking which engine IELTS and how much quantity. For the testing purpose, some people might have created all these things and you can enter some message to the supplier for providing. We are validating the commodity region qualifications. Please submit questionnaire. Complete the questionnaire, something like that. Any random message you can send. And if you want to change the recipient, for example in internal, you can change this recipient. Here by default, these are all your end users or your users available in your company code. You can select them and you can send it to, let me say, buyer 7 if it is their buyer. Those email addresses are not there in real time. We will be having email addresses, for example, Ariba22. If you are sending, he will be receiving an email. I'll just cancel it. Let it be having a default recipient. Seller will be the primary contact. Then I select. You're creating this process. Are you seller and the recipient will receive your questionnaire assignments. Is it clear? Basically, whatever the steps are clear, only we will be starting the process and that has to be completed by either external or internal people. Once that is completed, then he will be qualified or the process has been completed. For example, in the registration, if you complete these steps, he will be qualified registered supplier. Once we do the qualification, if it is completed, he will be doing the qualification. Now, we have done this activity for particular reason. Suppose some other supplier or some other department want to validate the supplier. For example, India Purchasing Department. They have validated the supplier and found that he is also good to supply our products for our company. What they will do? They will also they will do one more plus and add the commodity and region as India and he will process. Once this is validated, this supplier is qualified for that particular commodity code and mapping. We can do like this in number of combinations. Again, I'll be selecting the same pre-qualification. Let's select some other thing if it is allowing just testing purpose. There is no process available for this qualification advance. Qualification primary. There is no process template created. Then let's select test target. And that also is not the Jesus created, but it is not having working. I will be selecting pre-qualification. Now I will be doing for India. Reason for all commodities. Commodity. I will be selecting all commodities. There is no restriction for him and I will be doing him for India region. Click on next. Click on next. Same way. You can enter some message. You can send. You have this external and internal things like the question box. Whenever we are sending this ability to render and supplier will be answering the question. And then the purpose. Like our side, we need to answer that. We are getting answers from the supplier. No, that could be either way. Suppose you do not want certain questionnaires from internal generally, what kind of when you are doing a qualification you are finding from internal team like procurement team or a material receiving team. What you will do? You will add a questionnaire in the way that whether the supplier deliver the products on time. That is a one questionnaire. And second, whether the quality of his goods are as per the requirement. Second, whether he is asking any advanced payment, whether he is providing good credit terms. This information is either you can split between purchasing department or finance department, whatever you want to validate this particular qualification. Why we're doing this qualification? Whether we are going to make him a good supplier for us. We are validating certain information from him. We are asking ISO certification does he have that he has to provide it by the supplier, whether he is having technical specification, GSA registration, and how long he is in the business. What is his capital? All these questions which we will not be knowing internally, that will be asked with the external questionnaire. Whatever internally within our department, we want to find out from the history whether the supplier has applied good quality of material, whatever the terms are, it is working, whether delivery times have been, how his performance over a period. All these things will be known where relevant internal teams. We are circulating this questionnaire to the internal to get the qualification. Once this is done, during the approval he will validate. For example, there is a question which mentioned that supplier is providing 30 days. Credit terms are not. When the finance department says no, he is asking for immediate payment terms. In this case, we will not qualify him either. He will consider him for asking more from the questionnaire whether you will be providing or you agreed for why you're not doing this thing, and this will give a chance for him. Before he approving it, he will validate it. Then, if he approves it, he will communicate them to the people and then he will approve that next time. The main advantages during in downstream procurement. Never certain user is entering item related to the supplier. The preference supplier will be shown as a Ariba seller. He will be shown as a preferred supplier. He will be getting more business. That is the reason even the sellers are interested to get qualifications done. That he will be shown as a preferred supplier and they will be getting more business. Like we are submitting into supplier's right. We want this to be transferred to purchasing report or some other department. We need to enter the email or DOL. Yes, we need to enter here. You can select the change recipient, or when we're creating this external registration in the template level, we will be giving by default who it has to go. We don't need to manually enter that information that time. If you want to change that. Before I'm submitting request, you could see the change recipient. They will be entering the relevant person. They should. If the supplier has to be completed, they will have to be purchasing department and supplier task will be given and there won't be any intervention from buyers. Exactly. Even majority of the cases, this is not buyer activity. Mostly there is a category managers. They are again part of a procurement, but their roles will be mostly communicating with the vendors only. Vendor development activities, vendor management, all these things will be done by category managers. They will be performing this activity. They will be assigning certain questionnaires only to the buyers, even buyers generally. They don't do with these qualifications. I have one doubt. Like our product is working on SAP Azure. We do have one request coming in 10 minutes. What they're saying is like our reactive SAP. What happens is spoke for country-wise, like we are going to store the tax code, like vendor tax code right in SAP. What happened is, it's not like the same. We do have 6 tax code tax fields in SAP, but each country only using the same tax field. One country might be using tax number 1, one will be taxed. Some of the like. It depends on the length. Ariba team has to, while onboarding the supplier or while updating the historical vendor which was already created. Everybody needs to have new fields based on the length of a tax number. And because for one of the country, when you validate it, it has 3 different combinations. What we suggested is based on the field and it's like my term. This is the length type based on the field and it should set up. I mean this field to be updated with the tax number that field value will be flew to SAP. What Ariba team is saying is they will be like updating the form like vendor form according to the country. Is there any possibility likely? Is it something like that? Because they're saying you can do 2 things. One is by what is the default based on particular country when some even selects a country during the tax session. Based on that country, it will filter and it will show only the taxes relevant to that particular country only. From that they will be selecting. If you're asking one more way, the way they're asking a tax identification number and the format where they're entering is not correct, or if it is a mistake, maybe we have a restriction of 20. They need to exclude prefix or suffix. In that case, that entry details will be passed on the FIDIF when they're processing the email. Because that is a restriction, or you need to find out a field where it can accept both the combinations. If that is the limitation, then that is assigned to 50M to manage. There are 2 issues. One is by doing filterization based on country code. Automatically the relevant test codes will be visible. That is available in your tax manager lookup files. In that whatever you're maintaining again is that particular region mapping. Whenever the invoice is submitted, it will select the region from which it is picking and it will show him the available date. For example, when the user selects America, it will only show VAT and GST only. If they're selecting India, then it will give you a GST and GST codes. That we will talk when we're doing invoices and taxes. That time, we can know where we are maintaining the default regions. Thing. This is the same process. Now let's go to some supplier management and see qualifications done for other suppliers because it will take anger time and the process remains same. Instead of spending time, we'll see other suppliers who have performed qualifications. Go to supplier management qualifications, Ariba seller. Now he's failed but retrying. It's not completed, it is in on one. This one is in creation. The second one may be the relevant template is not available. It is doing a retry and once it is done it will be in creation and the second one will be once as soon as the supplier clicks on. Then that the qualification will start and they will be in progress. I'm taking one. He exposed head some supplier name. He's been category all regionals, all in approval. Click on view. Go to preferred. You can see he has been qualified for tier 2 and approved status and one is pending approval. Go to the qualifications. He has primary qualification type SMM process workflow template. Here he is in his Albatra, and in Albatra only business is production. The status is qualified. It is in progress. Who has done? By rate and effective date, expiry date. This qualification have been done. Now which is impending qualification in progress. Let's select not respond, 8 by approved, not responded. Let's select this questionnaire. Tell me where it is being displayed. Is it displayed on these questions? People update whether it is internal or external. I think it's external because it is asking for request. Then they change the bias strongly. That is the reason 8 by 8. It's been made. Where did you see? Heret request to updated request question. Right. If you want to see, this is the template level we can see. Going to the task documents. This is what not created. We can open. Actually, that was not built correctly. That is the reason it will not be able to complete. That is not processed clearly. Once the supplier has put the values, then we will be seeing the responses. This is what actions. It's act as a part spent. It is external questionnaire only. Tell me where it is displayed. Is it supplied requested for? Yes. But we do not have this. That is correct. It was sent to the external supplier. Supplier has to fill this event. But as a buyer, I can see how supplier will be looking like this. When he logging into the supplier and he has to enter these values, whatever the value which is requested, then he will be clicking that submit enter button. We will also monitor the questionnaires we received at the buyer side. Let me log into the buyer portal just to see questionnaires received from the previous one which I have sent. Now I'll be showing you it fast folder. I'm opening another browser. Let's see here. Supplier com. You don't need any URL when you want to logging into the supplier side. Supplier Ariba. But for buyer side you need it linked. If we told that URL, you will not able to logging into the buyer side, but in first supplier he don't need. It is how he's expecting. He is logging into the supplier network. Similarly, we will also have buyer network. That also we don't need. Buyer Ariba is more than enough, but we need to have credentials. This supplier is asking, who am I? I will be selecting this as a business owner. Click on Submit. If you remember, yesterday I was saying what is standard account, what is an enterprise account. Everybody will always tell you to get into this account that they will get more revenue. The standard account is a free enterprise account, needs to be amount based. You need to, when you're clicking this one, it will tell you the packet, what it will cost, and then if you are with this, you can able to continue as an enterprise account and you will be getting the benefits of doing an invoicing in your Ariba itself. As you people know, we have to log in into Ariba Propose. Sorry, we need to select Ariba Propose and questionnaires to respond to our customers. Questionnaires requirements. Maybe RFPs or any questionnaires which is requesting. That will be under proposals and questionnaires. Madam is the client. If you are having multiple clients, the client names will be displayed here, selecting the particular client. Whatever the client, related questionnaires will be visible. Loading. There is one external supplier. Questionnaires has been came and there are certain questionnaires also came. Let's select this station questionnaires. This is one is here. You can see the status is registered. If you want to edit, you can still open this and you can edit and respond before the time ends. Someone has put the time as 60:06. Questionnaires. There are 4 questionnaires have been asked and this is a qualification questionnaire. You can see the commodity and reason when I'm selecting this commodity. I will be satisfying for all these reasons. As a supplier, when I am selecting the supplier, modular questionnaire. User ISO certified, no submitted response like this. We will be completing one questionnaire. This is as a supplier. Maybe you can practice. We can send multiple questionnaires and do the practice and then let's go back to the buyer right. This is in preview. Go back, click on home page. Qualification is this? That's right now. We are trying to give a preferred supplier. Once supplier completes this one, either you can prefer that supplier. Let's take Viva Consultancy. Go to the preferred supplier. You can again prefer supplier, but doing a preferred supplier, whatever the qualification you should be having. That qualification, without that qualification, you will not be able to do. For example, during qualification, he has qualified for India region. You can prefer him for maybe Europe region. That is not possible. Wherever you have done a qualification, within those limits only you can able to make him preferred supplier. This is a shuttle is for the vendor is also the India region and it's like partially it can be on budgeted. You can on venture vendor like creating the PO to the vendor for the India region. If at all, if you want to create any PO outside India, like how that type will be for that particular vendor. Supplier. There is a global suppliers. Only as soon as you create a supplier, you have a reason to do that. When the relationship is established, the PO will go to the next process of sending a commodity code under the required licenses. For people sending handle, as soon as you establish a connection, that is fine. In order to receive, you need to have import license also. Unless it is a small quantity or small volume, where you can able to do the custom clearance that you can do. But when you're doing a bulk quantities or bulk this thing, then you also need the import license to get tax advantage. If you are doing otherwise, if you're not doing, you have to pay full custom duty and get the clearance done. And you will be receiving that material in order to get some benefits. Of course, you are importing for an export purpose, then you will be needing an import license that is, I don't know the naming. You can take tax credit or something, the UD credit or something that can be used when doing an export time. The balance only will be remaining and you will be paying. This particular supplier, is it the does? Did they answer your question? Yes, in the preferred supplier he has been India region and he has been approved. Sorry, qualification. I could not see his qualification either. Preferred qualification not started. He was directly preferred. We will do a directly tying a preferred supplier. The same way we want to generally, when the process completes and qualification, you can do or you can also prepare him by directly loading in the master data by adding this vendor code. You can able to do that also like, let me select the reason. Because it is the process is not started through this process, qualification. I am not able to select any reason from here. Otherwise, we will be able to select this reason since previous process is not completed through Ariba interface or SLP module. We will not able to see. It was this preferred supplier qualification came directly through an update that we are going to see. Let's go back to dashboard and I want to show you one more disqualification. Whoever you have pre-qualified, you can do the disqualification also by selecting the particular vendor and do this disqualification. With this, these are all the SLP process: supply request, registration, qualification, preferring and disqualification. The next topic will be how we are going to do this direct update and wherever you can do that. I am just going to explain when you go to supplier. Yes, we have one disqualification. If at all, if any user attempts to create a preview because he might not be knowing, that is disqualified or maybe by mistake. What will happen is, I understand your question, it will not pop you, it will create a requisition. You can able to create. You can get approval from the requisition, but before it converts into PO, it will stop. It will say that, hey, this vendor is not qualified. I will not able to send this PO to the vendor over a network. In a SP, it might have created. In Ariba might be created, but it will not send you. Vendor will not able to receive this purchase order. Then he cannot even give you order confirmation, or you will not even post goods received, or it will stuck in ordering status. Only that time the user or requester has to request this vendor management team and saying that, hey, supplier is being qualified. We are to go with him or there is a change in the process. Now the supplier is good. Whatever the reasons you want to unblock the supplier, you need to provide them. Then they will be coming to this page and they will be removing that disqualification. After that, they can able to. Then again, they will be sorry again. We can repush as an administrator and we push that PO. Then PO will be sent to the supplier. Thanks. You're welcome. Apart from the supplier, you will be, suppose whatever related to supplier content you want to see, then this is the tab, like how you're seeing contact separately, sourcing separately. This is the supplier, and you can see from when I selecting this, I'll be seeing supplier performance project related information. What are all the reports are available and notification related to supplies you can able to see here. And there is one more place where you're going to maintain this will be SMM administration. SM admin and SM administration, both are same. When your client takes suite integrated to suite integrated environment, then he will be getting these two options, but clicking either an administration or admin remains same. When I click on SM administration, here you will be doing all supplier import and export activities. The first one is data import and export, where you're going to upload suppliers directly through a file, appliance, sourcing, supplier contact, the software contact. Basically, we generally use supplier and supplier contact, supplier qualification data. That much only others. We generally don't do this. Suppliers, when you click on supplier, you can click on sample file. Then the system will give you a sample file how the data should look like. In that sample file, you will be filling those values, and by clicking on choose file, once the file is ready, choose file, and then you will be executing it. Once you did this, the place will be loaded into your Ariba solution. When you click on import summary, it will give you like how many previous history the suppliers loaded via this administration. From here, you can also load supplier contacts. The contacts and supplier, it is not an integrated activity. It is not possible to fetch supplier contacts from your ERP system to Ariba system. Only way you want to add multiple contacts to your supplier database using this. You have to go to supply 360-degree profile by clicking on plus and adding the contact details. Either that way or this way you can able to import supplier contact. For example, download. It is self-driven download a simple file to see the format by just clicking on sample file and clicking it. Yes, this is required when we are transferring the data from Ariba system like that. Not like C, maybe from ERP, if at all. If any Windows is created and we need to migrate it to Ariba, maybe this is one of the format. Yes, this is basically for migration or for manually managing mass updating data. All these activities are performed through SMM administration. Normally we go through. When you're loading the database also in initial state, like I mentioned yesterday, suppose you are already having a relationship with the supplier. It is not fair to ask. Go back to them and asking them whether you are in the industry. What is your name, and all that will not make sense and it is not more required. Also you are doing it. You know the relationship the last couple of years. For that case, when you're sending, this is the place where you're going to import the suppliers, and there itself in the qualification, you can mention them whether he's a registered or qualified or a preferred. Using the update automatically, the supplier will be loaded using preferred supplier or whatever the status which we are mentioning it. When you go and see the 360-degree profile, status will update it as a qualified, but you will not see the process template like in the previous example. When I'm trying to load a preferred supplier, it is not allowing to me because that was loaded through a batch file or a data file. This is a format which is giving me I need to enter ERP vendor ID supplier name. System. Suppose you're having multiple systems. From which system this data is coming? First name of the supplier, last name country. We are unable to see that. So, I'll be sharing that. What I loaded is just a supplier contact file. In this case, I know when the right. You see, this is the field which is showing ERP, vendor, supplier name, source system, last name, telephone number, mobile contact, time zone, etc. etc. Here generally we'll be adding vendor, for example Ariba, vendor XYZ. Then in the contact page, here you have the vendor is like you have the member convention in ERP system. By the way, is the same number or we need to match it to Ariba like it's a we are doing. ERP vendor, it is very basically when you have done an integration. At the time of Ariba loading, the system will not know whether Ariba is there or not. You will be having data from your vendor ID or the file is coming from your external system. That is the reason this vendor ID you need to enter. Suppose you created the data Ariba, only then you will be seeing with the name called vendor ID run 20345. But if it is coming from your ERP generally, you will be saving ESRL 124. Maybe your vendors are created in this format, or mostly you will be having number in sequence only. Maybe 4 series when that's our 2 series, when in that case you need to enter 2001. Whatever the relevant vendor ID, if it is created only in Ariba, you will be finding VDR. If it is created from external ID only will be entering. You will be entering relevant information and then in the contact where you will be creating the email address of the supplier and you need to mention whether it is a primary supplier or not. This activity will also help you in one more method. You can also export this data whatever currently available in your system. You can also export by clicking on this task exported successfully. The first one is a sample file. Second one is a data available in your existing data available in your Ariba system that I'm exporting now. Now the file is ready and we'll be downloading it. Contact export CSV. Once I open this is the file. You can see this. This is the vendor ID as I mentioned. This is integrated ID. You are getting external ERP ID. Whatever it is mentioned here. Also you can see supply name. Wherever it is supplier management or spin management, seeing the number as VD or wherever integration has happened. Then you will see sourcing system as IP. Now suppose you want to add one more contact. What you will be doing by just clicking Ctrl plus adding a row. Copy this entire data and come here and update the fields. First name Ariba seller. Ariba seller at gmail.com. English true. You need to have only one primary. In this case, he is not the primary. I'm just removing it. Whether he's active or you're making active, whether that active contact or not. Suppose you found from the supplier and that person has left, other salesman left. then you can remove this as a call. Then communication will not be sent to this particular contact. You can prepare this. Let's take our sample Ariba seller. Tell me if at all, like sometimes, if anything changes, like any field, we are going to introduce no field. After we will be adding that in gender master type. Whatever it is, it's like newly one instead of going like. Go ahead, maybe in running, like in running where we will be having more than 2000 suppliers, maybe within 2 years, and it is very difficult to go and update in each supplier manually. Will this is effective way to update that machine? Yes, it's correct. You rightly cached it instead of entering those details one by one. This is the best way to load the contacts indirectly. Not only contacts, and we do have one more sheet right there. This like primary details when the name, something like that. If any change in that data, maybe for example, we have Ariba is the dynamic. Suppose some new field is added that will be shown here. Because you are exporting the data, that means already you have established that field will be visible in this file itself. While exporting that field to be added in the export file also, right somewhere. How? Who will do that channel? Because that is something that is a dynamic integration. Only when you are adding a new field into the supply database. During that time, you will be doing all those testing and validation. Then, once you perform activity, maybe you at that time itself will be adding to the existing supplier whatever that field is required if it is not there also in the file. When you're uploading also, you will be knowing the field name. Mostly, whatever the fields created custom, they will be having COS and field name, maybe reference ID or something like that. You can add that field and enter those values also. Maybe you are maintaining some more system as some MD G123 master data governance. We are having this detail. You want to give that reference. You can do that when you are uploading it. Relevant request will get updated with this field value. What you need is only the field name only. Yes, how? How will you? How will you know that what the group of fields and this needs to be updated in this field like there is no? No, you're uploading right. You're saving this file now. Let me save this file. Contact export CSV. This field, if it is not there, it will throw another. I'm removing this for testing purpose. Let's go to supplier management. Actually, there is one topic on that. I will just complete this process. Now I have choose this one. Now I'm getting upload option upload. Waiting for response. It is validating it. Once it is done, we will verify that like what you're asking. There is a one master main is administration and the site manager. You see download data dictionary. This topic we are not started for reference. I'm starting this. This data download dictionary. There is a kind of a Bible. Whatever the configuration changes that happened in your system, that will get updated with the values on this data. This is different from client to client and each. Sorry vendor to our sorry client to client. Why? Because it will be based on, for example, right the moment you have only sourcing enabled. Later you are enabled contract and you do this contract activity. Then this file get updated with whatever the files used as part of sourcing and contract, and even in contact module have created 2 or 3 custom fields that will also get updated dynamically. Then you don't need to manually check or enter the details. Once I open data dictionary, it's opening. When you are having a time, you can go through also. This is the data dictionary file. Go to the last page. Index this here. You can see all the tasks available in your company master. Suppose you want to do, let's select taxes. You were asking, right? Nothing is there for taxes. For country specific, let's see. This is export. Export is a simply whatever in the current system that you want the export. You will be doing that export data the same way. Import will be import country specific tax will translation, and specific tax to translation is supposed to the company using multiple languages, maybe Chinese and Japanese language. If you want to provide values, whatever you're entering, that has to be visible. You will be using the translation, otherwise we'll be selecting English one specific tax fields. By selecting this, it will take you to the sheet. It will tell you what is the task name. Like when I'm doing this, you see the supplier contact. That is what the name of the task. Task description. Have tax metadata information which help us to decide the applicable taxes for a country and organization flat. And you can see this is what organization. You are further filtering country as well as organization and SAP tax metadata.csv. This is the file name and it will give you what data. The column name is country called ICE organization decision pattern. Sample format tax code. And new file. This is you can ignore when Ariba doing a development. They have added this one, but most of the cases it is same replication, only that is for their internal. This is the field column name and this is the field name again. This is again as for Ariba, we are with this and it will give you what is the description of that particular column country code, internal code for a country. What is the data type? It is using string length. Whenever you're entering a country code, it has to be 2 digits only. Country code must match the unique value of Ariba basic core country defined in country pool integration road. That means it is also telling you cannot add, like whatever the data you're entering that is existing in your country defined in the country pool integration event. Whenever it is doing country, that it has to require whether that field is compensated or not. It is residing in the required column. If it is false, then you don't need to enter value. But you can directly enter other value. Wherever true, then that field has to be entered. Whether you can in this field, whether you can accept 0 values, no values, it is saying also, if it is allowing null, you can proceed with null. It's like we're directly checking whatever the form we have that for that particular country, and we are writing these parameters. I mean, we are modifying these parameters in this example. You'll be having a country code based on pattern. What is the form? And then based on this, it will take the relevant, it will apply the relevant. Are you restricting the selection of the tax? tax codes based on the country codes. And this is that you will be having all the related tasks applicable for your company. Which integration task happened? Sorry, integration task in your right click. Go to the last page. When you are having a time, you can look at what is the file, what is the required data and all. You can also find even country codes. You can see the countries for the first one itself. It is there. I think we are good too. Let me go back to the SM administration. Let's see whether whatever I have done has been added or not. I can click either admin or administration. Supplier contact. For you, I've shown you data distance right. We went to manage administration and then the difference is seeing the task, whatever related to supply data. This is the method you can do there. If it is not mostly you have to manage in this direction SM administration, which is specifically related to supplier management. What their contacts import somebody today. Success. Is it correct? Yes. If there are others, you can view it or the others are. Success means it is done and 2 has been updated. Let's go and see that the vendor, whether I have the supplier contact which I have added as added into the. There won't be any files on like after job has run. Maybe this is the out data. It is the. It's not in the player that has been added. Sorry, I'm not clear on. What happened is like whenever we update it now by saying like import it by extension whenever the job got successful. That won't show any. It's fine. Obviously this has been updated. Maybe this window has been updated with this information. Any information is going to show after job. Like you're asking for a notifications. Notification maybe after job run, maybe we have one. Yes, we can schedule this notification. There is even if someone is doing this activity, want to get notified. Also, you can do this notification. There is an option here in manage notification. Whenever supply data is added, you want to receive a notification, and then you will be receiving that notification. Are you a seller? I'm opening this folder and I could be seeing one more contact added in the profile we supply profile. Supplier contacts. Now you can see this was I added seller are label to and when I mentioned preferred. Sorry, what is this one? Primary contact. That's what it is showing us. Instead of adding here, you can directly do the same way. You can do many activities in your SM administration without doing this like process. You want upload directly some supplies into this one. You can use this method to bring you in your existing supply relationship here by going into here. Preferred supplier. Supplier qualification data. Same way sample file. This will just give you column headers only. Export will give you current data. That is easy for you to look at it. What is the current data and add in the values. Once you can download the arrow which will show. Once it is done, choose the file and export. In the same supplier qualification data will get updated without doing process activity through user interface. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.